Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Maria, and today's Get Ready With Me, I'm going to be trying on some products that have been released at the beginning of this year and some more newer ones. The main one is the Tom Ford eyeshadow quad. It's the Extreme Badass, and that's in Metal Lust, which I was very lucky to receive. I didn't get this in New Zealand. I don't think it's ever going to be released here. My friend Liz from Chicago Law Luxury Makeup, she offered to pick this up for me and mailed it to me. So I haven't tried it yet, but I have seen videos on it and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. So I'm very thankful to Liz for picking that up for me. So I've already got my primer on. It's the new Hourglass primer, which I absolutely love. And today's foundation, I'm going to use the Suku one. It's the new one called the Liquid Foundation. And I did an in-depth review on this, so I'll put a link to that up here if you want to take a further look. And I just explain a bit more about it. I think in that video I used a sponge, I'm not sure, but today I'm going to use a brush to put it on. This is in the shade 030, and we're going to use the Sonia G, it's the Jumbo Base. And I've got about a pump and a half on the back of my hand. This is a really, really beautiful foundation. This foundation tends to look a tiny bit yellow when I first put it on, but after a couple of minutes it just sort of all settles in, and it's such a beautiful foundation. It doesn't settle into lines, and it does an amazing job at blurring pores. It's probably, I'd have to have a good look at all the foundations I have and have a good think about it, but I'm pretty sure that this foundation is probably one of the best that I've got for blurring pores. So for those of you that haven't seen any of my other videos, I have really oily skin and I have mature skin. I am 52 years old. I'm going to be 53 this year. And this foundation really is beautiful. It just fills in the pores and just looks just really flattering. Every time I put it on, I'm really, really impressed. And since I picked this foundation up, this is probably about the 6th or 7th time that I've worn it, and every single time I just really love the look of it. So for concealer today, I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown one. It is the Intensive Serum Concealer, and it is in the shade Natural. This isn't new, but I only recently picked this up and I am really, really liking it. I'm pretty fussy with concealers. I think as you get older, you have to be a little bit more selective with concealers. They can end up looking really cakey, but I really love how this looks. I think that it is flattering and it doesn't seem to crease throughout the day or get patchy or move around or look cakey in any way. So I'm just going to take the Sonia G, this is the soft concealer brush, and I just start off by putting quite a bit in the inner corner because that's where I'm actually my darkest. And then just the excess that's on the brush, I just tap that under my eye. And then I always finish off by pressing the product in with my finger. But first of all, I'll just do the other eye first. And then I just press the concealer in just slowly, and it just helps blend it all in. And just sort of helps it meld into the skin, just that a little bit better. So I've now set under my eyes, I use the By Terry pressed powder, and for the rest of my face I use the Sisley loose powder, and this is in shade 2. I've done my eyebrows as well. I've also put eyeshadow primer on too. Now I'm just going to put on some bronzer. I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown. This is the bronzing powder, and this is in the shade medium. And the brush that I am absolutely loving, and it isn't in stock at the moment, it sells out as quick as it comes in, and this is the Sonia G one, and this is the Pro Niji brush, and it's really nearly the only brush at the moment that I'm using to put bronzer on with. So now let's take a look at this gorgeous eyeshadow quad. So the packaging that it comes in is silver type packaging, which is going to be really reflective, so hopefully you can see it. I won't hold it up too close. All it will do is reflect the camera back and the lights that I have in front of me. This quad is made in Italy and it has 9.5 grams of product, and it is called Metal Lust. So the quad comes in this white sort of velour type pouch, and the outside packaging is really beautiful. It is like a ombre effect. Now I am going to hold this up and you'll be able to see the camera there, but it's a really gorgeous ombre effect from the white up to the metal finish. It is really, really lovely. And inside is the plastic covering that come with the Tom Ford quads, and the two brushes that are inside. These are white. One is a double sort of sponge tip applicator type, and the other one has a sponge tip applicator and then a small brush on the other side. I don't use the brushes that come with these quads, but there are people that do, and they do really good eye looks with them too, but I just prefer to use the brushes that I normally use. So as usual is a generous size mirror, and here is the color story. Really, really beautiful. My type of colors, a really gorgeous neutral quad. So this quad has two mattes and two sort of sparkle shades, shimmer shades. So I'm going to swatch these on my arm. They're going to be top to bottom and left to right. So this shade here and this one are your mattes, and these two are the sparkle shades. This shade here possibly looks a little bit more opaque than this shade, but they just swatched absolutely beautifully, and this is definitely my type of colour story. Now these shades felt really creamy when I swatched them. Of course I haven't tried them yet, whether they'll be as creamy as that formula that Tom Ford just released in those three new quads, the Rose Topaz, it was the Smoky Quartz, and the Tiger Eye, which I have all three, and I've done reviews on those, and they are just absolutely gorgeous. But people have raved about this quad as well. The other thing with this quad is that it is, I'm pretty sure, a limited edition, and it sold out very quickly, and then Beautylish restocked it, and I don't think they have that at the moment. Tom Ford restocked it, but I'm not sure whether any's in stock at the moment. But if I can find a place that does have this quad in stock, I will link it down below in the description box, and everything else that I'm wearing today will be linked in the description box as well. So I'm going to start off with the Rapha 15, go into the lightest shade, and there seems to be quite a bit of puck up, and it seems to blend really, really well at this stage, and just feels really nice going on, really easy to blend out. I'm going to take the Rapha 14 and I'm going to go into this shade here, and I just want to see how this goes. I just want to put this through the crease to begin with, and just slightly above as well. It has a really beautiful shimmer to it. Then I'm going to take the Sonia G, it's the Worker 3, and go into this matte shade here, the darker shade, and I'm just going to put this on outer corner and bring it up a little bit as well. I like to do that because I have hooded eyes, so sometimes can't see the shadow, which is fine. Sometimes I only put shadow just slightly above and just on the eyelid during the day. Sometimes I wear my eyeshadows like that, but if I want the eyeshadow to be seen when I'm looking ahead, then I really need to bring it up quite a bit. And for me, a good sign of a really good shadow is just using this brush, which isn't a blending brush. And all I've done so far is just sort of tap the shadow round, and it looks like it's been blended. So these are really smooth eyeshadows, and they are really creamy. Probably not as creamy as those 3 new quads that were released, as they were like really buttery, but these are still absolutely beautiful. Then I'm going to take the Sony G. This is the crease one, which I hardly ever use for my crease. I'm going to go back into this shade here, and I just want to put a little bit more colour up through here, and I find this brush really good for doing this. It just picks up a little bit more product, and because it's a dense, well, fairly dense brush, it's still soft, but you're able to lay down a bit more product as well. Then I'm going to take the Rapper number 3, go back into the dark matte shade and put that on my lower lash line. There doesn't seem to be any fallout with these. Often when I use this brush and doing my lower lash line, I do tap the brush off. I usually edit that part out in the video so it's not annoying, but I'm finding that I just don't need to do that with these shadows. And I don't very often tap eyeshadow off a brush, but because I have quite sensitive eyes, and if I think there is going to be some fallout, I will tap the Rapper number 3 brush, because I don't want any of the powder getting into my eyes if I can help it. And then finally I'm just going to take the Sony G, it's the Builder Pro, and go into this shade here, and I'm just going to put that over this part here, through the inner corner, out through to the middle. And then using that same shade, I'm actually going to go over that with my finger, and you do definitely get a bit more payoff. Really, really pretty shade. And then finally, using that darker shade, I'm just going to line my upper lash line. So I've now put on some mascara, and this is the finished look. It is really, really beautiful. Like I said, I had seen a couple of videos on it, but putting it on just now, it really is a beautiful quad, and it's definitely one that I am going to be reaching for. This is definitely me, these neutrals with a bit of sparkle in there as well. Just really gorgeous. So now I'm going to put on some blush. This is from the collection that was released, I think it was in January this year, the Chanel limited edition. It's the blush Comete. There were 2 of them, and the one that I picked up, I think it was the Page one, that really ended up being more of a highlighter. So when I went to Chanel, this is about 4 weeks ago now, I saw that the Coral Atoll was still in stock, and it's a limited edition one, so I thought I would pick it up. So I'm just going to take it out of its packaging, and these do come with these brushes, and they do feel really soft. I'm not going to use that today to put on the blush, but the other lighter one that I was just mentioning, when I used it as a highlighter, I did use that brush, and it did a really, really good job. So here is Coral Atoll, and it is really lovely. If I turn it that way, you can see the CC in the mirror and the star down below here. It is a gorgeous colour. It does look fairly pigmented, so I think I'll go fairly easy, but I'm really pleased that I picked it up, and I haven't tried it yet. So I'm going to use the Chukuhodo brush. This is the F03, and I'm just going to go fairly lightly. Seems to be quite a bit of pickup. So colour. And I just tap very lightly into the product. You could go a lot deeper if you wanted to. And I think that this colour would be lovely for all skin tones. And now I'm going to use the Chanel highlighter. It's the newly released one. It's the Camelia highlighter. And I use this highlighter along with the newly released Chanel Quad in a video. And I'll link that up above here if you want to take a look at the Quad. The Quad is really, really beautiful. And I show you in that video the embossing of this. But it is just absolutely stunning, and I'm still debating whether to pick up another one or not, just to have in my collection. There's still some available here in New Zealand. I think there's actually quite a few available, so I might just pick up a spare one. I'm not too sure about that yet. So I'm going to use the Chukuhodo. This is the KZ03 brush, and just go very lightly. It is a beautiful highlighter. You've probably seen quite a few videos on this already, but it is just gorgeous. Really, really beautiful. It is subtle, and it just adds this really gorgeous glow. And then finally, I'm going to use the Rouge Coco Baume. When these were first released this year, I didn't pick up these. And then when I went up to Auckland at the Chanel boutique, I ended up buying two. Today, I'm going to use the shade Flirty Coral. And it is number 916. And here is the finished look. Every product that I've used today is just absolutely gorgeous. The Suku foundation looks really beautiful, and I'm in love with this eyeshadow quad, and I'm very thankful to Liz for picking this up for me and putting it in the post. I'm absolutely thrilled with it, and it looks even better in person than in the videos. It's really, really beautiful. And this Chanel blush is beautiful. You could even build it up so you get a more bold look, but I think just for me, for every day, just a light wash of it is really, really pretty. And of course the highlighter is just stunning. It is really flattering, doesn't emphasize the texture that I have. It's just beautiful. And I really like the formula of these Rouge Coco Baumes. This is the first time I've tried it since I bought them, and they feel really, really lovely. They aren't like a lipstick, so they're not going to be super pigmented, but because this is that coral color, I prefer that. It just gives a hint of that coral color, and I think it looks really, really pretty. So absolutely thrilled with all the products that I've tried today. I think they look really, really beautiful. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.